Right now on Up with KREM, some Spokane hospitals are coming to the aid of healthcare facilities in the region as they remain on the edge of a crisis.
Monoclonal antibody treatments could play a key role in stopping COVID, but health leaders have hit roadblocks.
An absolutely pleasant day ahead, but rain is back in the forecast as we get into the weekend. We're talking widespread showers, bringing much needed drought relief.
The pandemic is poised to spread to our children. We are in a state of emergency.
Coeur d'Alene Public Schools voting on its COVID mask policy. What this means for students headed to class today.
Up with KREM begins now with Tim Pham, Channing Curtis, and Jeremy Legoo.
The impact of the COVID-19 surge in North Idaho reached the New York Times. They recently released an article about the crisis in Idaho and the effects it's having on Eastern Washington hospitals. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us here on Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Now, that New York Times article that we just mentioned was released this week, and it details issues Providence Sacred Heart and Multicare face as COVID hospitalizations surge in North Idaho.
Yeah, so this morning, Nicole Hernandez joining us live from Kootenai County. Nicole telling us what was revealed in that New York Times article and about the situation here in the inland Northwest. Nicole, what did it tell you?
Yeah, Tim, Channing. So Washington State, of course, is already in their own situation when it comes to surges in COVID-19 cases. But the situation over in North Idaho is not helping our area at all. So according to the New York Times, they reported that 29 of Sacred Heart's inpatients were from Idaho. Last month, up to 34% of emergency room patients were from Kootenai Health, according to the spokesperson from Providence. The Times also says having more patients has made emergency room wait times for Sacred Heart longer. Then people who do have to have a bed might not get a spot in intensive care like they normally would. The article contains a quote from Dr. Daniel Getz, Providence Sacred Heart Chief Medical Officer. He told the New York Times in part, quote, "We are delaying care for people who are in misery. It's agonizing for those patients. This has real impacts," oh my gosh, sorry, on those people who are waiting. Sorry, someone just yelled and scared me. Multicare also has hospitals in Idaho requesting a lot more help, according to the New York Times, but both Providence and Multicare have had to decline some of those requests because they just don't have enough space, the report says. Multicare says they got 30 requests in August, but they could only accept 10 of them. Multicare also received requests from Colorado, Texas, Alaska, and Oregon. So if you're interested in more information about this, you can text the word COVID to 509-448-2000. We'll send you a link with more information. Live in Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
A treatment that could help keep people out of the hospital has been postponed in North Idaho due to shipping delays. Heritage Health was supposed to start administering antibody treatments yesterday. Those treatments are used for patients who have been recently diagnosed with COVID, and it can help keep them from developing serious symptoms that could put them in the hospital. Now, the hospital hopes to start giving out the treatments on Wednesday to 45 patients a day. Now, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and send things over to you. Can you explain exactly what monoclonal is and just how this works?
Yeah, it's a relatively new term we've been talking about now for a few weeks. So here's what you need to know about getting monoclonal treatment. So to get this and to qualify for this, you must be COVID positive with mild to moderate symptoms. And these look like flu symptoms, including low-grade temperature, sore throat, and more moderate cases of COVID, and people with some chest pain. If you need oxygen, though, this treatment is not for you. And you must be older than 12 years old, and you need a referral from your primary care physician. So the referral will be sent to Heritage Health, and then Heritage Health will contact you for an appointment. And this treatment is for people, again, who have a high risk of developing a severe case of COVID-19. For example, if you have heart disease. Important to note here, though, this treatment is not a substitute for the vaccine. The vaccine is a way of presenting the need for this type of treatment. So these treatments were authorized by the FDA in May, and it's used for patients who have been recently diagnosed with COVID-19 and can help prevent them from developing serious symptoms that might put them in the hospital. Heritage Health says these treatments aren't the fix to COVID-19 in the region, but they should help to keep people out of an already overstressed hospital system. The antibodies are lab-made proteins that mimic our immune system's ability to fight the virus. It targets the COVID spike proteins and blocks the virus from spreading. Overall, the therapy has been shown to avoid 70% of hospitalizations.
Well, the school year is officially underway for students across the region. However, that is not stopping the discussion on masks in schools. Coeur d'Alene Public Schools Board of Trustees voted to make a slight change in its mask policy last night. The board chair says masks are now strongly recommended. This decision comes as one trustee says there are 168 students and 12 staff members currently out of class due to COVID or possible COVID exposure. The board did hear public comment before they took a vote. One local nurse and parent spoke about her worries of sending kids to school without masks, given the current situation in North Idaho hospitals.
The pandemic is poised to spread to our children. We are in a state of emergency. While there are many statistics about the situation here in Coeur d'Alene, the reality is clear. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, our children are now at risk. There are not enough hospital beds for children or doctors trained in pediatric critical care.
Others in favor of a mask mandate argued it was one way to protect children who are too young to receive a COVID-19 vaccine. Parents against a mask mandate also gave comment. One argued the decision for children to wear masks in schools should be up to parents.
Please, no matter where the ever-changing roller coaster of these times take us, please continue to make masking recommended and keep the choice to mask or not to mask where it belongs, with the parents.
For now, the school board is strongly recommending wearing masks inside school buildings. However, they are not mandatory. Now, in the meantime, there could be a new COVID-19 vaccine available for kids ages 5 to 11 by Halloween.
So Pfizer says it is getting closer to submitting for an emergency use authorization. After that, the FDA will evaluate benefits and risks, a process they say should take just a matter of weeks. Multiple health experts say they expect authorization by the end of next month. All right, 6:06 now on a Tuesday morning, and 50 degrees outside, not too bad as we kick off this Tuesday, but it is kind of feeling like fall, and Channing's okay with that.
I'm totally okay with it. How do you feel about it, Jeremy?
I feel good. I love cooler temperatures. This is what I live for. So if you like cooler temperatures, Thursday's your morning. For now, just know we are kind of mild and, well, beautiful. Look at how pronounced the horizon is there off in the distance. We've got good air quality and temperatures staying pretty mild this morning. Near 50 in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, 41 there in Sandpoint, 46 in Moses Lake, 53 in Wenatchee. It's likely we do cool a little bit more as the sun comes up. We're still sitting about 20 minutes away from the sunrise right now. Air quality stays good today and tomorrow. And keep in mind, sorry, back to the sunrise thing. That first hour after the sunrise is always the coldest hour of the entire day. So our 7 o'clock hour is likely going to be the chilliest hour, or the chilliest start to it, and then we'll start to warm up. Nothing but sun in the forecast today though, so as it goes, we'll dip likely down into the 40s momentarily and then quickly climb. By 9 a.m. you're in the mid 50s. By the time we hit noon, you're up near 70, and all afternoon we are in the 70s with nothing but sunshine. This is kind of the weather we've been waiting for all summer, but today, the pick day of the week when it comes to the forecast. I'm going to let you know why coming up in just a bit.
Well, we are tracking this storm as it is battering the U.S. Tropical storm Nicholas is bringing heavy, strong winds to the Texas Gulf Coast. Here is a live look at Galveston right now. You can see people driving down the road right there as the waves just are coming up almost to the road. Incredibly scary situation. Now, this storm could actually dump as much as 2 feet of rain in that area.
Yeah, that's where we find our team this morning. Michelle Choi from our sister station in Houston is following this storm right now, and she has the very latest. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning from Galveston. From the strong winds to the relentless rain, this is what we're seeing on the island right now. Hurricane Nicholas made landfall around 12:30 this morning as a Category 1 hurricane about 2 hours south from where we are along the eastern part of Matagorda Peninsula. But the impacts of this storm can still be strongly felt here along the coast in Galveston. Right now we're along the seawall. Take a look. You can see the storm surge pushing in. Rain, wind, and the water flying over the seawall right now. Majority of the island is in the dark this morning with widespread power outages. The spot where we are is one of the rare spots where we did still find power on. But what the two biggest issues the island is currently facing, however, is again the strong wind and rain that's been pummeling Galveston for the last several hours. We're going to continue to stay out here and monitor the conditions, but for now, we're going to send it back to you.
Michelle, thank you. We'll check back in with her throughout the morning for more updates.
Now, the storm actually hit the shore as a Category 1 hurricane overnight with 95-mile-per-hour wind gusts. But like our team in Galveston just mentioned, the biggest concern right now is definitely the rain.
We started Saturday notifying our residents that we were going to have flooding. The main event would be a heavy rainfall if we get that, and so we advised our residents to take precaution and move to higher ground.
So Nicholas is predicted to land in Louisiana tomorrow, and it's been tracking very slowly over Texas and just around 10 miles per hour. This is the 14th named storm of this hurricane season. Typically that number not reached until mid-November. So Jeremy, you know, you've been covering hurricanes for a long time. Yeah, it is quite early to reach that many named storms, 14.
It's not becoming all that rare anymore.
Yeah.
One of the things that fuels hurricanes or tropical storm development or tropical cyclones in general. Tropical cyclones is the name we use to encompass tropical storms, hurricanes, subtropical depression, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that's kind of your overall blanket name. And the number one fuel for those is just warm sea surface water. And with sea surface temperatures warmer than they've ever been each and every single year, you can basically connect the dots and go, oh yeah, that's why we have so many more named storms. So this is becoming more of a norm each and every year. I mean, look at just last year, how many we had. We went all the way into the Greek alphabet, and people were learning the Greek alphabet for the first time.
So what happens when it reaches the end? Do you just cycle back to the top?
So we actually now no longer use the Greek alphabet after last year. There was a lot of confusion. A lot of people thought that it ended a lot sooner than it did, but we were going, hey, no, there's actually a full alphabet, not just a few. You only know a few. So now there's more names that come on the backside of our normal list of hurricane names, and then those are kind of the same every year. As they get used, they get retired and new names replaced.
Okay.
Okay.
The more you know.
The more you know. And coming up after the break, we're going to take you outside and teach you even more, because we've got a lot going on in the world of weather around us. Everything from a fantastic day today to the return of wind and even rain in the forecast.